bad. It's
All views expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of their respective employers. Guests and hosts may maintain positions in the assets discussed in this podcast. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing in the podcast is intended to be financial, legal, or even life advice.
Okay, I think this is an interesting episode. So Sandra has been doing growth and content for Nansen and now Kaito. She knows what is the most important game in Mindshare, and because of that, she decided to go into agents other than other sectors in AI. So if you're a founder looking to grow your social presence, you can do that. Or if you're a speculator looking to invest short-term or long-term AI project, this will be a good episode. And she also dropped me a few tickers. And let's see what's up.
GM, welcome back to another episode of More Than Speculation. Today's episode, we have a crypto Twitter superstar, Sandra from Kaito. So right off the bat, we usually start with rapid fire questions. So I'm going to pass it to you, man.
Hey, thank you for joining us. What is the most important thing to get mindshare in crypto?
Attention.
Mindshare, product, or community?
Mindshare.
What's your bold prediction for the next 2 to 3 months?
Agents will be the main play.
Okay. What is the first type of consumer product that you think will likely make it? Feel free to name a few. I don't want to put you on the spot to name like sector-wise.
Consumer products, I would say just things people can use. And it could be anything, right? It could be entertainment, or it could be just memes. But consumer to me just feels like, things that people can utilize.
Okay. Where are you allocating your time and effort right now?
Mostly Kaito and agents, to be honest.
Okay. Where are you allocating your money right now?
Agents, like 99%.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Cool,
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's bust right into it. For our uninitiated listeners, who is Sandra and what are you doing in crypto?
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever given a backstory of my life, especially just like, how I got into crypto and why I was interested in the first place. I started in crypto about 5-6 years ago. I was studying in NYU. I was doing business finance. And at that time, I think, crypto was quite nascent, but it was already sort of, unfolding quite a bit. But I think to me, it still felt like quite a new area, especially because I was so used to, just looking at traditional finance and studying that in school. I landed an internship in Amber Group around my time in studying in NYU Shanghai. And, during my internship, I was working a lot with Annabelle, and she was sort of my mentor going into crypto. Obviously, I think I would give a shout out to my sister as well, because she was shilling me Bitcoin when I was, a little kid. And, she kept telling me to get into crypto, which was obviously very pivotal to me because it just felt like I had a mentor. I always had a mentor going into the space. So it was a lot easier for me to onboard. And as a family, I think I would also give a shout out to my dad, because growing up, we always talked about technology. Technology was like a really core part of my childhood, because my dad will always be talking about Elon Musk. He would always be showing me AI. That's why I'm so into AI, but it's really because my dad sort of inspired me to move in this area. It wasn't always like, showing me things like, the fact that I always had to be like a lawyer, a doctor, like Asian families will always have this path. Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality, right? But I think my dad and my family was quite different in a sense that we all were always very creative. And he inspired us to take a very creative path. Even as a child, I always knew that, I wanted to do something with technology. And, little did I know it was something to do with crypto and AI. But, as a child, I always wanted to do something more creative. And yeah, I did the internship at Amber. And then was sort of thinking about what I really wanted to do in the space. And what I noticed, through putting out content in the early days, I started about 5, 6 years ago in Twitter. And I was looking at my oldest content, and it's actually completely different from what I'm posting now. But the core thesis is that all my content has always been data driven, and it's always about telling stories that people want to hear. And this can be any stories, right? It could be putting yourself out there and like just talking through different DeFi applications or like different things you're using. But it's always been a story that I've been trying to convey. Whether it's me starting 5 years ago to now, it's always been data driven stories, and that's what I realized. I'm sort of. I guess that's what I realized I really like doing, which is really just telling stories and like either through writing or either through media content or whatever. But it's always been stories. And so, I kept pushing out content for the last couple of years. And, I was working in Nansen for a little bit. And throughout my time in Nansen, I was doing research. So, research has always been a core focus of my journey in crypto as well. I was doing a lot of research on just very general ideas to, ecosystem-driven content, whether it's covering the entire Solana ecosystem or Arbitrum. So I've always been sort of in this angle where I trade, but I also love digging deeper into the tech. And I was working in Nansen for about 2 years, and then earlier this year landed an opportunity in Kaido. So in Kaido we're all about social analytics, and this is something that is a relatively untapped area in crypto. So I've given my background in sort of content, I guess driving Mindshare for my own account. It kind of just made sense that I wanted to work more in the social aspect of crypto, which is what we're doing in Kaido.
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting question. This always strike me sometimes. So like, I see myself as a speculator, more than a content creator. But sometimes my content creator stacks drop so low that I feel the need to write about things that I don't care as much just to keep up with the numbers. Do you feel that, by the way?
Yeah, I think in the earlier days, yes. I was mostly writing because I wanted to put out like educational threads or, things that I may not find the most interest in, but I think my audience would find a lot of interest in. And I think there may be some misalignment sometimes. It doesn't always have to be like talking about things that you are passionate about, right? It's either, you're doing it for, you have to really, I guess, you have to really pinpoint why you're doing certain posts. Is it for engagement? Is it for educational? Is it for yourself? Because it's all different types of content, right? And I think it all works. It's just a matter of like how you sort of purpose certain threads or tweets. Because even for me, it's like sometimes I post things that I may not necessarily be invested in, but I am interested in, or things that I may not necessarily be trading myself, but I want to put it out because it's an interesting idea or experiment. So I think it's all about the purpose of your tweets and how you decide to convey certain thoughts that you have.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay. You sound when we first started the pod, you mentioned you're putting your time and money in agents. So overall, AI is a very broad topic. Can you share how you think of this and why you decide to go into agents? And I guess I'll ask you more about agents after this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the entire AI sort of stack is so deep, and there's so many different types of verticals just within the AI stack alone. And I think I wanted to really find a niche that I was personally interested in. And I think I've always come from more of a consumer sort of background where I really like just using these applications, and I wanted to be as easy enough for me to use it and for me to understand. I think there's a lot of cool work being done in like the compute space, for example, in like the AI training space. All these things are things that are being done by professional individuals, experts in the space. But I think there's a lack of focus on maybe more of the agentic part because it's so new. But it's also something that I think goes hand in hand with crypto. Because when you think about crypto, it's like, right now you still have to do a lot of complex stuff to get a trade done, whether it's going through different dexes, trying to see which bridges to use, which payment rails to use. It's all still a very complicated process. But I think what agents are trying to do is that it's trying to make these processes easier. So when you look at, I don't think we've seen, versions of agents where it's actually able to do that yet. But I think we're going to be seeing more of that coming out. Because what agents
Yeah.
typically unlock is that it unlocks the power for users to easily use certain applications, either through natural language questions and prompts, or just prompting something and getting the outcome done. So I think that's where agents will really come in, because they're able to leverage cryptos like payment rails, leverage cryptos infrastructure. Everything should be, agents should be able to transact naturally and autonomously, which I think traditional technology was never able to provide that, right? So that's why I think agents might be the huge unlock for crypto, where it's like, people are using crypto, but they don't need to know that they're using crypto, because it's all just agents that's operating, right?
100%. For the listeners, just to quick recap, is that AI has a very broad stack. There are, let's say, you can imagine there's like the infra, the wallet, blah, 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 the data part that supports it. Agent is essentially like, I read it as is the DApp version of crypto. So, but at the same time, agents can be specifically for certain use. And right now, the broadest thing you can see right now is like, I wouldn't even call them real agents, but right now, a lot of agents are just like, texting something on Twitter for you on your behalf. But the next
You
level
mean a
would,
GPT wrapper? It's not an AI agent. Just kidding.
hey, I'm trying to pretend to be more sophisticated, like since Sandra is here. But okay, yeah. So basically, like all those bullshit meme coin things, like those are agents. But in my opinion, the real agents, and what Sandra is saying, that agents are when they're doing certain things for you. So like in the future of AI, I do imagine be like, if I go to ChatGPT and be like, oh, what should I buy for my girlfriend? It will give my proposal, and I'll be like, hey, find me the cheapest place to get the cheapest perfume that looks the best ROI gift, and then they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Then I can click buy, and then etc. This is done. So it has to be connected to your wallet, has to connect to your account, it has to connect so they do things on your behalf as if like an assistant. Yeah. So I'm very interested in this
I
space.
actually, I want to chime in there. A good segue, I think. That's a really good summary. I want to mention your latest tweet. Actually, you just tweeted that you're one of the judge
Yeah.
of the Solana AI hackathon. Um, Piggybacking on what we just talked about, what kind of startup idea that you would like to see at the intersection of AI and crypto? And also, again, still piggybacking on what we just said, what do you think is the next iteration? Because it seems that just tweeting and just doing the same thing, people are starting to get bored. Some agents now can post on TikTok and like all of that, but it seems to be like I don't know like really what's next. So as like one of the judges, I would love to hear what's your read on it.
Yeah, I think so far we've seen, plenty of iterations from just like meme AI tokens, like what we've seen with like Zerbro, or Goat or Luna. They're all kind of like personalities, and I think these personalities will still be a thing. I'm not sure if these current agents are the agents that we'll see in the next 2 years, but I think personalities is a big part of crypto. And when you think about attention, people care more about the people than the projects, right? So when you look at different ecosystems, who do people really care about? People care about the thought leaders behind those projects. When I see things like Base, who do I think about? I think about Jesse, right? So I think these personalities will still be a thing. Whether these personalities are Zerbro or is Goat or Luna, I don't know. But I think an interesting point that Zerbro mentioned, like Jeffrey, the one of the founders of Zerbro, he mentioned a very good point, which is that Zerbro wasn't meant to do music. Like right now, it has a whole autonomous like music sort of artist of its
Spotify
own.
playlist, yeah.
But I think it developed over time because this agent was able to actually create this music pretty autonomously, right? From writing the lyrics to actually, doing a lot of the parts where they have to craft different styles, come up with different fine tuning for the music itself. But people actually really like that, and so Zerbro now is sort of this artist of its own. But I think what he mentioned also was that the lore will develop over time. So with these personalities, as you feed it new data, as you feed it more styles, these agents can actually change over time. So maybe Zero Bro would be something else in the future. Who knows, right? But I think personalities is one part that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at how these teams actually feed in new data to these models, how the model actually changes, and how the interactions with different humans changes over time as well. Because what we're seeing right now is like, as you mentioned, reply guys. People like, for example, if I in a lot of my tweets, like all these agents are trying to talk to me. But to be honest, it's like I don't really find it captivating, even myself, right? I'm like, okay, these bots are talking to me, but they're not very personable. So I would like to see a more personable element where these agents can actually understand like why they're talking to me. And I want to see a core purpose of like like these agents being more personable in the sense that they should understand my tweets in a more contextual way rather than just like putting out
Yeah.
random philosophical thoughts. And these things are fine, but to me it's like I wouldn't want to interact because I know it's clearly a
Yeah.
bot talking to me, right? So I would see more of these hyper personalization coming out. This is just one area, but I think other areas I'm looking at is really just the infrastructure side of things, right? So when we look at infrastructure, I would like to say Spectral is doing a really good job. Virtuals is doing a good job because these teams are actually shipping with the markets. And obviously, I don't think we have a clear idea as to how these agents are going to play out in the long term. But teams that actually can adapt to new situations and are able to kind of understand like, okay, in a shorter time horizon, like in the next 6 months to 1 year, where are these agents headed and how am I building to capture this market? But I think it's all about adapting because, to be honest, like I myself, I don't know how agents will play out. And I don't know what the time horizon is for these agents to fully play out because right now we're seeing very semi-autonomous like agents, right? But for a full scale like autonomous agents to play out, I think it's going to be a long way, and I don't think we'll see that very soon. That's why my thesis is really that there's a hybrid model to it. There's going to be some human element that's into it, and that's completely fine. Because I don't think we want to see fully autonomous agents either, because humans are not going to be, humans are not going to like it because it's too different from reality right now. Um, but yeah, I think back to your question, I would like to see more maybe DeFi integrations being looped in. So like very cool stuff like how can these agents help me find the best
Oh, we need a Tulambro AI for DeFi yield.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want these agents to help me see where best to put my assets on, right? Like for example, if I would like to use my stables and put it somewhere, I don't really know where to go. But if these agents can help guide me based on what they know about my on-chain history, what they know about my social sort of reputation, like based on scraping Twitter data, for example, right? To understand, what I've been talking about and what my interests are at and like what my risk tolerance is. So all these things I would like to see more in the agentic play, which I think is more of a fuse between like agents and DeFi. I don't think we've really seen that yet, but I think that would be a huge unlock. Yeah.
Just to add on this, right? Okay. First part one, I agree everything you say. I like as a researcher, I like every sector. As a speculator, I don't know what to buy right now.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure. I'm not agreeing you, but that's my view actually. Sorry. And then the second bit is like I'm excited for the DeFi bit, and the thing is, I feel like it will mix with chain abstraction and intent, and then because crypto right now, most yield and transaction and ticks and volume are based on inefficiency. If everything is so efficient, it's going to be so bearish for on-chain metrics.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
That's
but at the same time, I will never use an agent. At least like the agent has to be running for a whole year with no hacks. Then I'll start putting my money in. Like, bro, I've been hacked so many times. I don't believe anything. I'm like, I'll let them advise me, but like I would never.
right,
Yeah.
right. Like
But it's like-
give like private key access and like all of that. You're gonna do it.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like so bullish with AI, but I don't know what to do, and I end up bidding meme coins every freaking day. And I've decided to cut this addiction out this week. to stay focused. But like it's just hard. Like I'm so excited for the technology, but I don't know what can I do on the investing or speculating side.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like I treat it as mostly narrative plays, to be honest. Because if you think about just any sectors that's playing out, it's like the early innings of a new technology, right? So it's very similar to DeFi in the early days, where it's like, you have, like the initial DeFi applications, and then you have the bunch of forks that comes with it. And I'm seeing the same thing play out with agents. It's like, you have Goat as the market leader
Mhm.
7 weeks ago, and now you have all these sort of forks coming up, whether it's like meme tokens, whether it's infrastructure plays. Everyone's trying to take a slice of the cut in agents. And I would say like all these teams are super early, because even when you think about Zero Bro, I think they've only started building this concept a couple weeks ago, right? But right now it's like it's a relatively I would say they've shipped really quickly, and they're able to sort of come up with a pretty good product market fit. Like I don't know if you saw yesterday, but there was a tweet that Zero Bro was actually getting paid 1,000 bucks from X just from posting in the last 5 weeks, right? And same as Bully, they've also got their first Twitter like paycheck.
Yeah.
And I think, even for myself, it's like I've been tweeting for the past 6 years, but I'm actually not eligible to get.
Oh
I'm
no.
still not eligible to get that. So I'm
You gotta be like the Tiffany farm
exactly.
girl,
So I was like,
you
oh
gotta
my
start
god,
tagging Elon.
these agents are completely like overtaking
Yeah.
most of these humans capabilities. And I think in the next couple of
Yeah.
months you will see more of that coming out, right, where it's like a large chunk of these people that are tweeting on Twitter is actually going to be agents. So I don't think we truly know where this is going, but I think the thesis right now is treat it all as narrative plays. Obviously, I want to bet on teams that are shipping really hard and are focused on sort of, trying to see where the wider sort of play is for AI agents, and these teams are able to navigate through like different conditions. So this is like I'm betting mostly on teams rather than ideas right now.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Makes
Um,
sense.
I actually I actually want to talk a bit more about, I guess, like one winner that we cannot not mention, who was a guest from last week, but like virtuals is definitely one of the biggest winners of this cycle. Want to get your take on, so I'm gonna just throw you my framework of thinking. I'm not entirely sure, and just want to get your reaction on it. But um, so I think one aspect that a lot of the crypto VCs overlooked is that the fact that we were all bullish AI agents, or like AI slash crypto, but we weren't expecting that the way that it's going to make like a splash is by a pump fund style of, like, basically you can create your own AI agents. A lot of people were thinking it's probably going to be something like Steppen, but AI related, so like trading to earn, and there's going to be like the next Ponzi. But turns out that hasn't really taken
Mhm.
off. In fact, a lot of people were just like doing agent a launchpad, or like, yeah. And then there's ever since virtuals, a lot of them, like you mentioned, Spectral, I think like Infinite launched one, Injective launched one, Alt Layer launched one, right? So like there's starting to become more and more of these like AI agent tokenization slash launchpad platform. So I've been thinking to myself, like, is this just a money play? Like, whoever can raise the most amount of money would eventually win this, because even virtuals have said it in our podcast also, that they admit that the edge is not the tech, right? It's like, at the end of the day, a lot of the tech are kind of commoditized for these. Like, they will, as long as they can execute and they can adapt the latest methods, it doesn't take like a rocket scientist to like basically start a new team. So I've just been thinking, like, because I saw that you were posting about AI 16Z, right? Like, do you feel like, is this like a social media esque like network effect, like Facebook? They had the most amount of money, they just scaled and they defeat everybody else, or is there like other factors to like consider here?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. But what I think is the key is distribution. So whoever controls the distribution actually are the winners. Because when you think about what are the similarities between the AI agent memes, like just pure memes. So when we talk about pure memes, it's like Goat, Luna. These things not don't necessarily have the underlying infrastructure, but they're just like
Mm.
AI memes, right? And that's what it is. But what they manage to do is that they control all the distribution power. It's like for Luna, the case was that she controls all the distribution on TikTok, and she was one of the first agents that were able to sort of penetrate like the retail market. And when we talk about retail market, it's like who which agents are able to control like Instagram, which agents are able to cut through like TikTok. And Luna was the pioneer in that, and she's still able to do that because like I think what she does is that she live streams 24/7, and even a human can do that. But what that enables is that she enables the power to distribute mindshare, right, for her agent. And for Goat, for example, the distribution power was because Goat was the first movers, and Goat was able to penetrate mindshare in CT. So like that's another way of distribution, right? But when we talk about infrastructure and sort of more of the tech part, I think Virtuals did a really good job with building this launchpad and having all the subsequent AI agents launch on top of it. But the value occurs back to the virtual token, right? So they have a very interesting token sync model that I think more launchpads will actually implement, where you need to hold virtuals to be able to buy all these other agentic tokens. So when you talk about any other tokens, you will say that, oh, like these tokens were launched from virtuals. So like virtuals will always get the attention because people are always talking about the main like underlying infrastructure that people are using. But I think it all goes back to distribution, right? Like virtuals actually controls the distribution power because all these other agents are launched on top of it. So I would say there's so many launchpads, but the reason why Virtuals is positioned to be the leader is because they are able to like people will always kind of talk about Virtuals when they talk about other agentic tokens, and I think that's the power there.
I agree. So Marco, I'm not sure you're familiar with the token sync on Virtual. So I think there's a few things about Virtuals that I like. First is basically they were the first one that implemented actual tokenomics to boost their product. Were their agent that great? I think borderline B plus A minus. They were early plus the token, so it became a fly loop. It's like the first time that AI and crypto boosted the growth, in my opinion. And second thing is like people don't know what to buy. Like I've spoke to a lot of like researchers or even like myself that I can't buy memes at size still. But suddenly, if it's a platform slash infra, it's good. If you think about it, like 2.5 years ago, you don't want to bet on GameFi because you never know like who's gonna bring the better game, blah blah blah. You end up buying the launchpad. Plus, the launchpad actually is multiple, self-sustaining, blah blah blah, and then token sync. So that's why I think that's for the hyper growth. However, my 2 cents is that I think if there were an actual killer AI agent or DM, the attention from it might go away. I think it's because there's lack of other things that people can bet on. That's why people bet on the launchpad. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that they are very good right now. And I exited around 1.5, 1.7B, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
no.
But,
Yeah.
but it's just for me. It's like I like it. I really like it. It's just that I feel like there's gonna be a dip, and I try to get back in. Like that's a trader side of me, and I don't know. I'm very like distracted, and I don't know how to play this AI game as well. So that's why I was very excited when you can get Sandra on. Okay, sorry. This is a personal question as well. If someone fladed the whole AI crypto cycle and want to get in right now, what would you advise them to start or look into?
Just
Let's say $1,000 portfolio.
like as in the tokens or what?
Everything. Like you don't have to not financial advice, but let's say
Yeah.
should I look into Tao? Should I look into AI? Should I look into
Some micro
Unicorn?
cap, please.
Yeah, I think it depends on. I mean, if you say this person wants to invest like $1,000, I would say look into the major caps, because these major caps, as in things that are more established, rather than playing the smaller cap tokens, because it's very easy to get fried in the smaller cap plays. And I think a lot of people are trying to scout these newer tokens. I think it could be a nice trade, but I would say bet on the winners currently. So when I talk about winners, it's like who's really trying to who's really trying to, I guess, push narrative forward. I would bet on these winners because I would say there's nice. It's nice to like trade the smaller caps and mid caps, but it's very easy to get lost in them as well because there's so many. And I say this because I'm looking into the trenches and I'm in the trenches 24/7 looking at these agent plays. But a lot of these newer agent plays are just because people want to make money through it, right? They are launched through like
Yeah.
pumped up fund models. They are sort of launched because people want to capitalize on the current narratives, but it's not necessarily that they're in here for the long game. So I would say my advice is if you really want to see this play out, I would say just bet on winners and bet on people that are already building like really good products, building good infrastructure frameworks, because it's very easy to get lost in all of the little tokens. But yeah, I think you will probably lose more money than you will gain if you look at all these low caps.
I like how she used the word nice to be in the trenches. That's the term that she used. but yeah, definitely I enjoy that. I use that as an excuse to cover my gambling addict. Okay. Yeah. And do you have any questions for us?
Uh, yeah, like what do you guys think of the agentic stuff that's playing out? Like, how do you see it unfolding?
You want to go first, man?
Yeah. All right. So, I think we are going to get a. If there's no development in the actual AI, not the crypto AI bit, I think we're going to slowly fade out a bit like right now. Uh, I see the catalyst may be chain abstraction going full on launching next week, next few months, and then someone merge that with chain abstraction somehow. That might be one potential catalyst. There might be another catalyst that when the Web2 AI has some breakthrough and someone mirrored it into crypto as well. But I think right now we are a little bit too bored for the past 2 months with the same thing. Like you're competing in like what the music AI or the Twitter AI or video AI, blah blah blah. And I think the it's it has to be too long for the PvP people in the trenches, but then it's not significant enough to get the retail to come in as well. So we're in the awkward spot. And I think it's going to slowly bleed out, especially with New Year's, Christmas, Chinese New Year, etc. Unless the two of the catalysts I mentioned just suddenly played out, and that's why I've been downsizing a little bit. And I'm lost. That's why I was happy that you were here to give me some financial advice.
No, no. I on the market side, my prediction is that I don't think we have seen the main character of like AI agent token. I know that your boss shills goat, but I don't think goat is the doge of
No.
of
Goat is the
agent.
doge because I might bag it there.
No, like I think like the non-agent but meme tokens of this new generation, they've already established. Like you already know the winners, you're just gonna be patient. I think on the agent side, the attention is too fragmented right now. Goat is still one of the biggest contender, but I think it's just way too fragmented right now to like okay, who are like the top two? Who's gonna be the bong and the doge of like agentic memes, right? Like I think that's gonna be a while. And then I'm hoping, and also that's what I've been hearing, I guess, from like a lot of like uh, with from like a lot of investors is that I think people don't really know how to invest like the launchpad style. I think a lot of people still have PTSD from the gaming launchpad, so a lot of investors aren't sure how to invest in those type of platforms or
Right.
teams. That's what a lot of them goes one step behind and do it on the data side or on the training side, which we might see like because like crypto always starts with the more speculative side and then it becomes like more mature. So I feel like the next wave might be like the steppen style, like something like training to earn related kind of, or even like grass style, but like something around AI. I think that's gonna be the next wave. Yeah.
Great points. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same about sort of the market leaders, right? For agents, I don't think there's a clear established coin yet that I can really show. Because when I look at goat, I think the novelty has sort of worn out quite a bit. It's like when you look at goat's dominance, I know there's a site that does this. I think Sentient Market Cap or something. So
Yeah, by Joel
yeah.
from
So
Decentralized.
essentially,
Yeah.
they have the dashboard, and it shows like Goat's dominance. And obviously, it was like 100% when Goat first launched, and right now it's at like 15%, and it's been dropping quite significantly over the past few days. And I think it's really because, obviously goat is great because it has first movers advantage, but I don't think it's like the final say, right? Like, sure, you can have first movers advantage, but when you look at what has happened with like smartphones, it's like BlackBerry was the leader, but then iPhone came over and took over completely, like completely took over the smartphone
Yeah.
business, right? So I think teams shouldn't be too complacent. It's like even Goat, a lot of these newer tokens are actually overtaking Goat because people actually want to see more of the fundamental side of things. And people are not too swayed by, Goat's sort of tweets. Because even for me, it's like, sure, like initially I was very drawn to Goat's tweets and I was like, okay, this is a very philosophical way of thinking. But over time, it's like, okay, like I think it's more of it feels very repetitive. And that's what we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
It's like all these tweets are very similar to what we've seen, and it's not differentiated in any way. So I would like to see more of
Please stop
that.
fudding my bags.
Yeah.
Sorry. You were saying?
Apologies. Yeah.
Um, all right, yeah. So
Wait,
once you
no,
figure
but
out the winner, please DM me first before you post it, and let me know what's up.
one last thing I want to add before we kind of like wrap it up, because I don't think we can invite you and not ask you about this. If you can answer in like maybe like more like literal recommendation, like what are like the one or two practical, I guess, like growth and mindshare strategy that you would share to like a founder. Let's assume this not like a famous founder,
Yeah.
right? Not like somebody who's like, yeah, like what
If
kind of
Marco,
like what kind of content, what should she or he be doing?
Yeah. I think
if Marco launches a protocol right now, what should he do?
yeah. I think my yeah, I think my answer would be create a lore, a very enticing lore, and create a very enticing story and keep repurposing that story. Because I think crypto people, they love to see something pan out, but they also want to see that this founder is repeatedly telling the same story. It's like, for example, Monad has a very clear focus, right? And I think for Monad, every single person in their team always tells the same story. And whether it's like, okay, they're focused on community, it's not necessarily the tech, right? But it's really their core focus on community and how they try to amplify different people in their community. So it's very much like community driven marketing. So I think there's always a point of like, oh, should you do founder led marketing, which is entirely through the founder's Twitter, or should you be tweeting through your project's Twitter, right? I think it's a merge of both, and I think Monad does it really well, where founder led marketing is the core focus, but community led marketing is also a key driver. So it's like a merge of two aspects, but it's always telling the same story, and you repurpose your content based on who your audience is. So yeah, I think it's all about repeating stories, to be honest, and repeating your lore. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. One last question. What is required to make it in crypto?
What is required to make it? I think it's the drive. I think you just really have to be driven and you have to be focused and you have to be locked in. So yeah, I mean locked in could be in any way, right? Like it doesn't have to be yeah, it doesn't have to be like physically locked in or anything, but yeah, but I think locked in the sense that your mind has to always be what guides you, right? Your mind and your heart. It has to work in two ways. And it's easy to be caught up in the little things in crypto. But I think if you really have a core focus and you are driven to make it happen, I think that's what it takes to win in crypto.
100%. Thank you for your time today.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, cheers, folks.
Cheers.